Hello YouTube, Alex Witchfinder here. It's been more than 1 year since I last made a video for this channel, and I would like to thank you all that are still watching, that are still commenting, that are still subscribing to this channel, even though I haven't been active lately, and it means a lot, and I guess that's the only reason for which I decided to make this video today, which is about metal albums of 2022. Not only the best ones, but all of those that I've got. Of course, I'm gonna talk about my top 5 in the end, so hold on or just skip if you don't want to listen to other recommendations that are not among my favorite ones. And yeah, albums of 2022. I would start with a CD this time. This is a band of some friends of mine from Brazil. This band is called Iluna Perpetua, and it's a CD. They play some melodic death black metal with a lot of modern elements, I would say, but still not sounding very industrial, although they have some industrial approach to their music. Yeah, well, I have nothing more to say except by the fact that you should listen to this one. It's probably my favorite Brazilian release of the year. This album is called Awake at the Deep End. Now skipping to vinyl, which is the thing that everyone on this channel usually seeks for. Since I was talking about friends bands, this one here, Anheim, it's a German band from Würzburg. Würzburg is the city, if I'm not wrong, in Bavaria, where bands such as Der Weg einer Freiheit also is from. And I met the bass player of this band this year, Andy. He was attending this festival in which my band played, and he was so kind to me. He gave me this record, and there's even his signature here. So thank you, Andy, if you ever come to watch. If I'm not wrong, today is the 14th of December. I don't know when I'm gonna upload this video, but today is Andy's birthday, so happy birthday, mate. This is some also melodic black death metal. I would say that this one is predominantly black metal. Iluna Perpetua, I would say it's more black metal as well, but it has more death metal elements than Anheim. And these two bands go well together. I think everyone who's got a chance on listening to that. This is a regular Black Wax record. It's a very thick, I'm not sure if enough to be 180 gram, but if you have the chance on getting a snap on this album. If I'm not wrong, I'm not sure if Andy or anyone else in the band is involved with the record label where they put out this album, which is called Teufelszeug. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave all the links on the descriptions for you to listen to and to buy when possible. Another one, just to finish with this friends of mine bands. This other is the split between Fossilization and Ritual Necromancy. So Fossilization is a death metal band from Brazil, from a great friend of mine for more than 20 years now, Thiago Vaca. He is probably more well known nowadays for being he was the producer of the album of the girls from Crypta, and I know that Crypta is making a huge success right now. They played in Wacken this year, and yeah, Thiago was the producer of their album, and he also has another band in Brazil, a sludge band called Jupiterian. But Fossilization is very much traditional, old school death metal in the vein of Incantation, I would say. This very coming from the dumpsters. I don't know how to better describe. Some people are calling these bands right now as cavernous death metal. And this split has only 3 songs, so 1 from Ritual Necromancy and 2 from Fossilization. This was put out this year by, if I'm not wrong, by an Italian label. This is what they call the Bone Edition, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, and for those that are quick enough, since I have the record and I'll never do that, here there's a download code. I don't know if it is focusing enough, but anyway, you can download it on your Bandcamp if you're up for it. And there we go. Another album. This one is not a metal album by any means. Although there's some relation between this band and metal. This is the Dutch band named Gold, with 3 G's and 3 D's right now, so I don't know if there's written anywhere here. I'm not sure if it is focusing enough, but anyways, that's a Dutch band. They just recently renamed their band. They rebranded their name to Gold, written that way, because before it was regular GOLD. But there were so many other bands and people were struggling to find their music online, and they decided to have a different name, or at least the same name but making it easier for people to find out. It's a bit hard for me to properly describe their music. I would say that they have a lot of influences of post-punk, but also what people would call occult rock nowadays. The leader of the band, it's a couple, the singer Milena Eva and the guitar player Thomas Ciarone. Thomas used to play the guitars in the early albums of The Devil's Blood, another Dutch band that is probably more well known among metalheads, led by Selim Lemouchi, a guy who committed suicide a few years ago. And this album, it's a double version of it. This one comes with This Shame Should Not Be Mine, which is the album, and they played this entire album on Roadburn Festival in Tilburg, the Netherlands. And it's a bonus album there, the live at Roadburn. But you need to have in mind that this was released during Corona times, this concert, and therefore this live at Roadburn was the Redux version where they presented online. So it's a special way for people that didn't manage to attend or couldn't watch the live stream. And yeah, it is basically having the same album twice, but you have a big difference in production from album 1 to album 2, because one is live and the other one is on studio, and some things changed between the time in which they played the record and then after to release the record. I think it's a good contrast, it's a good way of listening to both. The artwork of these albums is absolutely incredible. You have the singer here, Milena, with this armor. All the lyrics on this album were written by Milena, talking about the experience that she had with some trauma. Is a thing that unfortunately still happens every day with women all around the world. And it happens a lot as well in metal scene, which is abuse, rape, and everything that puts women in such a vulnerable position. And it's a very tough, very deep subject that I'm just grateful that they turned this pain, they turned this trauma into music. Anyway, it's hard to to listen and following the lyrics, but as the name of the album says, this shame should not be hers. So yeah, another band. Talking about Roadburn, Thomas and Milena were, this year of 2022, they were among the curatorial process of Roadburn. So they brought many bands there to play special sets. And I guess that one of the bands that they picked to play is one of my favorite black metal bands of the 21st century, which right now signed up to, not right now, but anyways, signed it to a major label and released a new album, which is Wiegedood. This album is the first one outside of their first trilogy. This one is There's Always Blood at the End of the Road. This is a special edition that you could buy only directly from the band. So it's a double record with some red, transparent blue splatter, and the side D has a natch, which is the most intricate and the most weird but also beautiful etch I've ever seen in a record. I am not sure if it is possible to be seen on camera. Maybe on Discogs there will be better pictures of it, but it seems to have some lyrics or any text written here. They are a Belgian band, but they also sing in, their music is predominantly sang in English, although the titles from the original trilogy are in Dutch or Flemish. They are from the northern part of Belgium. I'm not sure if Ghent or Antwerp. Anyways, somewhere around. They are also part of this collective movement there named Church of Ha, for which other bands also participate, such as Amenha, which is for me the best band in this sludge scene since Neurosis, and Oathbreaker. Anyways, they are very active. This is a band with 2 guitar players and a drummer, no bass players. A crazy amount of riffs. This one is way more experimental than the first 3 ones, which is more on the vibe of second wave black metal. So I know a lot of people don't actually like much this album because it has some, industrial vibes to it. To be honest, I was not a big fan when this one came out, although I bought it on pre-order. It sounded a bit weird to me, but the album grew on me. And when I saw them live playing the tracks from this album, I finally managed to understand and to like, and well, I guess it is a great band and everyone should give some attention to these guys because they are great. Another band that I was expecting to have it among my top 10 didn't make it this time. From last year they released the album that was on my top 2, and from 20 bucks spin, a label that never disappoints, this is Dream Unending. This album is called Song of Salvation, and it came out this year like any other, but the thing is, the other album by them also came out this year, although they were released last year. There was this problem with this pressing factories, so I know that the first album by Dream Unending, I got the vinyl in January, and this one was released officially on the date. I guess this one was released last month in November. And as well as many other releases by 20 bucks spin, this one comes with a massive poster I'm not gonna show right now, but it has the artwork. If I'm not wrong, this band is a duo from the US, and they play death doom metal. I would say their first album has more death metal elements. It was more deep, was more intense, like the old records of My Dying Bride, the same feeling that I had when I listened to My Dying Bride when I was a teenager, I had when I first listened to the first album by Dream Unending. I would say that this new album sounds more or less like Pallbearer. It's more beautiful, not that deep in a sense, but also great. This version of mine, it has a swirl between this Bordeaux and blue color. I don't know how they are calling this version. They have special names for it, but anyways, it's just the title. Another great album. And another one from 20 Bucks Spin that came out this year, which is my favorite EP of the year. And this band released my favorite album of last year, which is the Americans of Warm. So, Warm last year, they would play more or less death metal in the vein of Fossilization, this cavernous death metal, so death doomish. So they have this influence of incantation, but also an autopsy, but with a twist. And they released this album last year called Foreverglade, and they had, I guess, 2 extra songs that didn't make to the album, and they decided to release these 2 songs on this one, which is called Bluenothing. But the side B of this album, they totally changed the sounding on the music, which is no more going towards the death doom essence, but more to a black metal doomish essence. They are calling it necromantical black doom. So you can see here they even have corpse paint right now. On their latest album they only had the black in the eye, like the old Brazilian metal style. And this album is incredible. If this was a full length, probably it would be my favorite album of the year again. This is, I guess they call it Cosmic Blue version. And the guitars on this album are next level. For me it is uncanny to pay attention on how can someone play so well with so much feeling. This one also came out by 20 Bucks Spin. It also comes with a massive poster. There's insert with lyrics here. And before I enter my top 5, I would like to show a tape this time. This is also a Dutch band called Faceless Entity. This album is called The Great Anguish of Rapture. I don't know if this camera is capturing, focusing properly. It came out by the label of the singer, if I'm not wrong. He's got a label called The Throat. The artwork here is very minimalistic. Here on the background you have a picture of the band. And I love this album cover. It's hard to see it with detail in here, but it is great. I would say that before they used to play more raw black metal. This one is also black metal, but I would say it's not that raw like they used to be, but still very much underground, very much not accessible black metal, or in my sense how black metal should always be. So entering my top 5 of the year right now. The first one was still not released on vinyl, therefore I only have the tape. This, I guess they're from Canada. This band is called Grenadier. It was released by Drakkar, the French label. And this album is called Trumpets, Blare and Blazing Glory. So, that's the thing. Some people would say that this is a tribute band, and like when you listen to Gruesome, they sound exactly like Death. This band sound exactly, or more or less in the sense of Argosland, the American melodic death metal band. I guess that Grenadier labeled their music as sentimental death metal or something like that, emotional death metal. In their shirt you can see this, the way that they call it. And I'm not gonna enter politics here. I know that many people don't like Argosland because of their lyrics. They have like racist themes and some neo-Nazi members associated to them. But talking only about a musical perspective, I would say that Argosland has this guitar player, Necrosodomy. He might be one of the main riff makers in extreme metal of all times. So if you listen to Argosland, if you listen to Grand Belial's Key, you will understand why I'm saying that. And Grenadier, some people are calling on the internet the safe way of listening to that. This is a nice tape. But anyways, Grenadier. This is my top 5 of the year. So evolving to top 4. This is also an American band. I mean, Grenadier is Canadian, but Negative Plane from the US. This album is called The Pact. It's a double record. It came out by 2 different record labels, Aina and Invictus. And this band plays black metal, but not in the 90s style, but in the 80s style. So you have like some doom metal influence on it, and you have this occult approach, and they sound pretty much like the bands that would call themselves black metal in the 80s would sound. And that's the thing I love the most about this band. And it comes with a beautiful insert with some beautiful artwork that follows the lyrics, and it has a conceptual story, the story of the architect and how he built his church. And in any page you have different artworks that looks like tarot cards, and it sounds very occult, sounds very deep and somehow satanic. How black metal should always sound, once again. This one more in the vein of the first wave. I know that many people have problems calling it black metal. They would call it, I don't know, extreme metal from the 80s. Although Negative Plane has, you know, some contemporary elements in that as well. And The Pact, top 4 of the year for me. Top 3, if I'm not wrong, also an American band, Summerlands. This album is called Dreamkiller. So it's summer about the Sumerian Empire, or the Sumerian lands. So with one M, Summerlands, Dreamkiller. This album has a matte finish, and therefore it's a bit hard to show on camera, but the cover is like a car burning in the desert, like some Mad Max reference here. And this band plays traditional heavy metal, and for those that like the 80s heavy metal, especially with bands like Scorpions, with a twist of Dokken, but also some melancholic elements of Candlemass, music that is gonna attach to your brain and create a big earworm, and after listening to it for the first time you're gonna play again and start singing along. There's a song in this album called Night Ride, which it's just perfect. and it has this neon pink color. I love this record, and by far for me, as well as Eternal Champion and Visigoth, they might be among the best, what they call the new wave of traditional heavy metal. This should be the leading band right now. They're great, they're killer, they're dream killer. Listen to Summerlands if you like traditional heavy metal. I guess that it's hard to say anything else more about this band that haven't been said in the recent times. I really hope I can see these guys live soon. Hopefully they will play the next edition of Keep It True here in Germany, I don't know. Yeah, this went out by Relapse, so it's very easy to find anywhere in the world. And there we go to the top 2. Everything I mentioned about Negative Plane, my top 4, I could say the same about my top 2, which is Predatory, Light, Death and the Twilight Hours. So this album is also by a band that sounds like 80s black metal. Well, I think I saw in an interview, if Slayer decided to play black metal, they would sound more or less like that. But they have like this guitar tone that sounds like old Dead Kennedys. So it's black metal with a punk vibe to it, in a sense. Also very much traditional heavy metal vibe aspect. And I love the artwork of that. The Rider of Doom on a pale horse, while the village burns underneath. I've written a review of this album for Black Metal Promotion. I know that many of you that are watching my channel right now know the YouTube channel Black Metal Promotion, but they also have a website in which there are interviews and reviews and anyways, anything else related to black metal. I'm gonna link here in the description so you can read my actual review of that album. And I love this. This would be the #1 album for me if it wasn't for the actual #1. Oh, this one also has a special marble sandy color to it. And if I'm not wrong, this was also, yeah, it was. Man, this label never disappoints, as I mentioned. Released by 20 Buck Spin. And 20 Buck Spin is a North American record label, but it's very easy to find their releases here in Europe as well, because I guess they press their records in Czech Republic, so it comes already to all the distributors that are from the area. Comes with a hype sticker, that one. I mean, most of them come, but I'm not showing that. And first one. So this is a band I'm also gonna write a review for that one. I still haven't done, but it's gonna be in Black Metal Promotion soon, and then I can come back here and add the link on the description. So this band, it's a German black metal band. I could write down a parallel between Wiegedood that I recently showed up, not among my top 5, but also great album of the year. Because this band, previously, they also signed to a major label, which was Century Media. And I mean, in the era of social media, where every band has singles, video clips, and this internet excerpts and slowly revealing the artwork, this band went totally on the opposite. So they went back to their first record label, which is an indie record label here in Germany, which is Vendetta. Good thing I can't show the proper cover. and they released this album without any previous announcement, which is Otha from Cologne, and this album is called All That Has Never Been True. I guess that the album cover represents it perfectly. You have a skull here with a lot of masks. It reminds me of that infamous phrase from Game of Thrones. I don't know who of you watch it. There's the character of Littlefinger, which is also the guy who performs the politician in The Wire, which is for me the best TV series of all time. So watch Carcetti there. And he says like the realm, the real story of the realm is a lie that we both agree to tell until it becomes truth, and if we forget it is a lie. Something like that, and the cover represents it perfectly. And the album name, All That Has Never Been True, for me it's a perfect depiction of that. I mean, this one is not a gatefold, but it's also a double album, and it comes with a massive booklet and pictures, lyrics, artwork. So here they have English songs, some of them with German titles. And this band has a certain post-punk vibe to that, although they play German black metal. When I'm saying German black metal, I'm dissociating that from black metal in general, because people that know the history of black metal would know that German black metal has a very specific sort of very melodic yet very fast and ominous riffs, in which the riff and the melody are played together at the same time in the same guitar. Right now we have this school that came after bands such as Ungwa or all the Icelandics, in which one band plays the rhythm and the other one does the melodies. In German black metal you have one guitar doing the same together. And aoty has this in a very strong way, also with some post-punk elements. The second song on this album, there's even some saxophone, and it's brilliant. And I love their branding. They had a song on their first album that was called You Exist for Nothing, and ever since they put this phrase in all of their records: you exist for nothing. There we go. And those are the names of the sides of the album. Instead of side A, B, C, and D, side U, side exist, side 4, side nothing. That also happens with some other records they put out. I have another pressing of Converging Sins, which is one album that they released also in Vendetta before they went to sign with Century Media. There's a very nice interview with Rolf, which is the singer and guitar player of this band, that was made by this podcast called Into the Necrosphere. And I'm gonna link that as well. I think there's on YouTube, so you can watch it right after. I can put on these squares here to keep on watching, and it will go directly there. And I'm speaking here for 40 minutes, and I know it's a big video. I don't know if anyone reached the end and if you agree or disagree. I'm gonna leave here, instead of my stupid face, I'll add a chart with my 42 favorite albums of the year. Only the first top 10 are in order. All the others are more or less mixed. I tried putting them in order, but I know that to actually make it in an honest way, I would have to listen to everything again and determine which is best and which one I like a little less. But all of these albums are, for me, at least number 7. I'm very rigorous. I would say that, I don't know, the last number 10 in metal came out more than 20 years ago. But aoty and Negative Plane, Predatory Light, they put out solid 8.5 albums this year, and I guess this is worth checking out, and hopefully I'll come back soon with other videos. And if you're in Germany, northern Germany, and you have a job for me that I could start from tomorrow, please let me know. I'll give you a record in exchange. Thank you very much. Please consider liking and subscribing, and add your comments what you think about that. And don't miss the chance of seeing Twilight live next year. We're gonna play some concerts in Europe, and if you attend one, please come say hi. Let's drink a beer together and discuss opinions on metal. Thank you very much. See you around.